Hey, what's going on? I am back, and today I have a showcase of something that I just recently created in the past couple of hours today. So today I am showcasing something that I'd like to call a UI handler. Specifically, what this is going to be detailing and showcasing is buttons. So buttons can be quite interesting. They can have different types, they can be selected, they can be hovered, clicked, yada yada. So I set out to get the most out of buttons and put it all into one long handler that can handle any type of button, any state, any color, and any effect. Okay, so let's check this out. Before we start anything, let's go through the layout of my buttons. Okay, so let's go here. So this one right here that is selected, this is a checkbox. This one is a simple keybind button. This one is a multi-switch group, which I will explain in a minute. This is a rounded button. This is a single select group, which I will also explain in a minute, and the single switch group, which I will also explain in a second. So, first of all, let's jump in. Alright, so as you can see, we have all of our layout here. You can see an X here that wasn't there before, and you can also see the effects of the buttons when I hover over them. So, don't mind that, I'll explain that in a minute. So all of these buttons are intertwined, connected, if you will. They all have the same style in this part right here. All of these buttons in these groups, these three different groups, they all have the same style. And so let's just simply go ahead and start selecting them. So this one, this group up here, this is the single select group. And what that means is that only one button out of all of these can be selected, and none of them can be unselected like how they are now. And so let's go ahead and click on that. Alright, so it makes a nice little sound, and you can see when I click on this again, it doesn't disable. When I click on another one, they switch. A single select. And you can also see the numbers on the top left corner, which means I can press keybinds. So when I'm holding down my button, it'll show gray, and when I let go, it'll select it. Okay, so let's move to the next one. So this is the multi-select group. With this one, you can select multiple buttons at a time, and you can also unselect them, kind of like a checkbox. And so you can simply select them and deselect them, like so. And let's go to the last one. This one is a switch group, single switch. And so what that means is that only one of these buttons can be selected at a time, and they can also be disabled, unlike the single select. And as you can see, perfect, that works. Now, let's go for this one. This is the same as just one of these. It's just a normal switch, but in its own button. Over here, we have one without any selection effects, but when I hover over it, you can see that the styles are manipulated and changed in such a way. And when I hold, it will light up with a color. And when I let go, it'll go back to what it was previously. So let's dive deeper into what is making this effect happen. Alright, so this is from in the script where I am setting all of these buttons up. So it might look like a lot, but that is because we have a lot of buttons on screen. So we have all of our same setup like we do over here with the single switch group and yada yada. Alright, so let's go ahead and check with the setup button group. Okay, so this here is the group name. The round button, you can either put the frame that holds all of the buttons, or you can put the button itself, or you can put a table of information that holds the information for the button. So we have the linked function. So whenever this button is activated, hovered, such as hovered, hover start, hover end, holding start, and holding end, whenever any of those states are activated, it will call the function that is linked. And you can also set whether or not you want it to be selected, locked, or if you want to give it a keybind. Alright, so let's go ahead and go through these. So these are simple functions that we will manipulate in 1 minute. So as you can see here, we have the different types of selection styles. So it's a little bit hard to see because there's so many of these functions. This normally wouldn't be a thing because we don't have all of the different types laid out. However, we are going to go ahead and check through all of our states. So let's check how many states are in this. So sorry about that, there's a lot of code. It's like 400 lines. Anyways, so we have our single select, multi-switch, switch, and none. For none, obviously, there is no selection. So we have the round button as none, checkbox as switch, and we have the keybind button as switch as well. And this right here is the style. So what these styles are, they are referenced in certain functions listed over here. So the UI button presets, and it lists all of the different ones. The reason why they're in different modules is because they can be pretty long just for one effect because of how many different states there are. And so each of these, so these are the main button states all in here. So the holding start, holding end, hover start, and hover end. These support sounds as well, so button hover, button release, and click. And they can manipulate any sort of child frame or child icon, or sorry, image underneath the parent button. The layout of this is as follows. So you have the frame button, and then this fake button object that is detected by the mouse, and then you have whatever else. So if I wanted to reference the icon or change any property in the icon, then I can list that here. Also works for UI corners, strokes, anything. Okay, so we have all of this. So we also have the custom states, which is the selected hover, locked, and unselected. And of course, if I don't want one of these, I can simply just leave it out. I don't need to have hover, but it is recommended to have at least holding end. Anyways, let's go ahead and check out the round button. So this one is just solely for the round button. As we can see, we have the UI corner added in here. And we have an option for tweening in a table. If you don't want to do that, then you just put it as its raw form. Otherwise, if you want it to be tweened, then you can put it in a table, the value of what you want it to be set first, and then the tween info set as second. And if you don't want any custom states, you set it to nothing. Alrighty, so I don't need this. Let's go ahead and check it out. So we have everything being created over here. We have it checking if there is a keybind available, and if there is, then we're going to create a keybind effect sort of like this, and it will go appropriately to whatever it is. And down here we have the UI stroke as well, and this tag right here goes to an automatic stroke scaler that I have as well. And yeah, and so this is all the magic that happens within the button group. Now there is some things I could change about it, but I think it is actually pretty clean. Anywho, let's go ahead and do some testing. So let's go ahead and wait 10 seconds. Or, yeah, wait 10 seconds. Okay, so after we wait 10 seconds, what we're going to do is we are going to set the single switch group lock status to true. So the single switch group is the bottom. You may have seen this at the introduction of the video, and you can see, so we will wait 10 seconds. And there we go. So now we have all of our lock status to true. And so, oh, sorry, I forgot to save the code there. So we'll just set this one to like 5 seconds this time. So any sort of code, let's say you are in a shop or something, and you don't want to be, or in a placement mode, and you don't want to be able to access these buttons or click on them or press a keybind for them, then it will set them to locked. And if they have a locked style setting, then it will set it to that. Also, I forgot to enable Rojo. That's why it wasn't working. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so now they're permanently locked, and you can see that there's no effects when I go to hover over them or click on them. Perfect. That is exactly what we want. And now let's say we wanted to wait 3 seconds after that, and take off their lock status. Now, if an object doesn't have a certain status, then it will simply just ignore it, or it'll set it to the default color, which there is a default color for it. So wait 3 seconds, there you go. Now I can select these again. Perfect. That is exactly what we wanted. So now we can also check over here, and let's just hide these, wait 5 seconds, and we're going to go for the checkbox. Actually, let's go for the keybind button here. And we are going to go ahead and set its selection state to false. There we go. And then we'll wait a couple seconds, and then you should unselect. Alright, so it works now. Took a couple minutes. I forgot to, I was calling the wrong functions, and I accidentally reversed the if statement. But now if we go ahead and select this, and we wait the selected amount of time, boom, it unselects. And so if we go back in here, and we wait over here, let's go ahead and wait maybe 3 seconds. Yeah, let's do that, and we'll set it to true. Should deselect it, and then wait 2 seconds and select it. Simple issue, so let's go ahead and test that out, and it will unselect it, and then it should reselect it in a couple seconds. There we go. Perfect. Let me go ahead and show you the last little bit here. So something that I like to do is add attributes to specify for the UI coding process to make my life simpler. So one thing that we can do one thing I thought of that I think would make it a lot simpler is adding attributes inside of the frames itself. And so what I mean by that is I can literally add one called selected. We'll do a boolean, and we'll go locked, add a boolean, and I can also add a keybind, and that can be a string. So these are not required under each individual button, but they can be added. So let's say I wanted this one, the checkbox, to be selected when I start. Well, obviously, it is already being told that from another place. So what if I were to remove this so that it doesn't tell me if that is true or not, and we're going to go ahead and just give it the checkbox instead of the checkbox info. Alright, let's check that, and now it'll be enabled. Boom. So what if we wanted to, okay, I just had to make sure that I saved it. Now, let's say we wanted to unselect it. Let's give that maybe P, or no, we'll give it 9. Let's test this out, and let's see what happens. Boom. So it adds our keybind in the middle there, or on that corner, and we can go ahead and select it as we would normally. Perfect. Amazing. Now, let's go ahead and say we wanted to lock an individual button, or let's say we wanted to select the first one. Okay, select this one, but we're going to lock the fourth one. There we go. So now this one is locked, but these can be selected. And when I press on 4, you won't be able to see it. See? Perfect. That is exactly what we want. And that is all that I have to showcase for this button. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully if I have some more time I can post some more, but I am going to try doing some more video editing so these videos aren't so hard to watch. But yeah, thank you for watching.